There is some little one waiting for a future that they imagine through juvenile eyes, seeing some magnificent thing through the cinematic view of the things that they see. And they imagine it bigger and brighter and more brilliant than those of us who are adults see. And they're grasping at straws, trying to learn the lessons that we tell them to sit between. But honestly, they're bigger, they're better than any of the things we've ever seen. Because we forgot what it was like to be that size, walking those roads at that height, grasping higher and higher, hoping that adulthood would bring them there, only to find disappointment. So what are we? But children, hoping for something else we can see. And it's on the inside, and we want to see it on the outside, but we don't see it around us, even though we know it's there, just beyond our touch. So we're rushing, and we're pushing, and we're giving it all of our thrust of energy, hoping to manifest what it is we want to see. But I want you to know you're perfect the way that you are. And you're learning the way that you are. You're seeing through a lens I've never had, and I want to borrow it for a minute because I think it's legitimate. And maybe it will make me better than I was so that I can make you better than you are. No. I just want to see the world through your eyes. And I want to love as hard as you know how to love. Because part of me has become numb. And it doesn't love the way others want to be loved. So it feels subpar and not as bright as I could see and be if I could see through your eyes. My robe hangs like a ghost on the back of the door as the fan blows it to and fro. And I'm hanging out at this dawning hour when I would normally not be awake, watching the flowers, the new blooms quake on the tree next door. And they look familiar, like the house I used to live at, but it's a different tree with the same flowers. And I'm contemplating this solitary hour where people aren't yet walking through the park. And I'm awake and my animals are curled up in their gentle state, avoiding the fact that I'm more active than they desire. And I question again and again how it is I'm supposed to ask for what I want because I feel at the whim of the wind. And that doesn't feel bad. It just feels unconventional. And it feels distractive to others. My passion isn't to be in the normal flow of things. And so each day begins differently, at a different time, in a different space, with a different view, and a different attitude. And I try and bring myself together into myself to try and be the best self that I can be. I'm constantly facing the fact that I'm hiding from myself if I pretend that I'm the best that I am every day. seen a lot, done a lot, and I'm tired. I'd like a rest, and I'd like respite. The other day, things bombarded upon me in such a way where I couldn't even think. I had to shut my entire body off and just go back to bed because the desire of people to finally want to talk to me after such long periods of time of not talking at all happening on the same day within a few hours, was too much for me to take. And I didn't want to describe or explain my life, and I knew that some of these calls were going to be depressive and the other ones were a wild card, and I just didn't have the energy for it. And I didn't want to feel bad. I didn't want to feel bad. So sleep was the best thing that I could have to separate myself from the desire of others. And then the next day I wake and I create a mass email, or rather a text message, and I send the same thing to everyone, apologizing for the fact that I couldn't be there for them because I was too overwhelmed. And mostly the answer back was, "That's okay, I understand." And I appreciate that. The gray cloud of depressive consumption has been long lingering and appearing to get worse. I'm not sure when last any of us slept, and I've been chronic with the depressive rest that takes over when I find myself overwhelmed and aimless. It is that purposeless wakefulness that sends me to slumber, and days have passed where my movements are locked in a place by chain smoking and the consumption of empty entertainment. I ordered some brain supplements last night, just in hopes of at least a placebo. I'm bloated and shapeless. The animals have felt the tension of the rolling anxiety and the angry communications. No one is safe from this toxic vitriol. I suspect even the neighbors feel it. The young daughter cried all day yesterday like an empathic bell ringing to the tune of our own misery. I'm acting scared for something I cannot yet see. And yet I feel the pressure of something insurmountable. And again I find myself asking, who is this? This embodiment of discontented spirit. What is the goal? Because I myself have been drained of such things, and I compared myself to a frozen husk of something I no longer recognize. I cackle like a witch. I groan like a corpse. I think to myself that it's fucked, that we complain or cry for help without actually saying, please, please help me. Especially to those we put most trust in, but they rarely offer the things we want in the way that we would ask for them. And this idea that we have to learn the hard way, it just brings around people who simultaneously draw us in and repulse us. That we can feel like we shouldn't be quote unquote here or quote unquote there, but we end up somewhere whether or not we like it. And maybe it's how fucked up it seems that we live with some sliver of an affection in our heart that hopes for the best until it experiences its darkest, deepest freeze. And that is when we find some space that says there is no hope left. And somehow, maybe after days, weeks, months, or years of despondency, there is again an awakening, and all things unseen again align for the betterment. The mercury in the thermometer equilibrates to relieve some sort of cosmic pressure. And then I see myself as a bullseye. We are like waves and ashes crashing unabashedly amongst ourselves. And each of us is going in that wave, reaching out, asking for help, only to crash down and bounce back into itself. And we're beings just seeing the sea bring the things we wish we perhaps weren't seeing. Breathing things perhaps we weren't breathing. Saying the things we wish we weren't thinking. Yet we're here. Crashing again amongst ourselves. Crashing against ourselves. Crashing amongst ourself. What is this one, they ask? The perceptions, the proverbial facets among this shelf, asking tacit agreements amongst us to agree to believe in oneself. What is the one of oneself? It's yourself. Crashing amongst yourself, tumbling and being compressed, being pulled and depressed. What is this being of yourself? What is the I? The eye of the tiger, the eye of the mind, the eye of resilience, the eye of I am. When do we embrace it? When do we see that we can attach to it and separate this other thing from it while still being connected to the greater I am? I am. You are. You are. Where is the basis for help? Well, the wave would say it's only in oneself, but we have to keep crashing and smashing, depressing, compressing, replacing, regressing, falling back and repeating before we find the endless, seemingly infinite being that is the I am, the you are, we are, it is, I am.